Welcome back to News Glitch. I'm Matthew. These are real headlines, and I genuinely don't know who approved them. Let's get right into it with episode number 5. So, for the first article, we have a man robbed a store and then returned later to complain about the service. Hold on, pause. He didn't come back to apologize. He did not come back to turn himself in. He came back to complain. But to complain about what? He stole from the store. I'm not understanding what's going on. That's not a crime. He's coming back as a customer to give feedback. This doesn't make sense. He has the most ultimate confidence because they obviously knew he stole, so they're going to arrest him for going back. Why is he going back to complain about what? Also to complain about what? He got it for free. There's nothing to complain about. Because robbing a place and coming back, that's wild. If he's not going to turn himself in, why is he coming back? Did he also plan to come back? What was wrong? What feedback did he need to give? I don't understand. Was he going to say the cashier was rude? Because this guy didn't pay, so he didn't even go to the cashier. The checkout was slow. This guy didn't even check out. I don't know what he's complaining about. Doesn't really make sense. The man just wanted better service, but he didn't get any service. He just took the stuff. And I'm sure this is how he got arrested and how this article came to be. The article is speaking like this is a normal everyday thing. Usually when someone robs something, they don't come back. This guy came back. He had no shame. He wanted to place a complaint on someone. If you're filing a complaint after committing a crime, the system is broken. Robbing a store and coming back to complain is insane. It's not a criminal. That's a dissatisfied customer, but he's not even a customer. Alright, that's it for headline number 1. Let's get right into headline number 2. So for headline number 2, we have a town voted to ban props at public meetings, including flags and even copies of the Constitution. I'm sorry, they banned the manual? So for context, they said it was to keep meetings calm and professional. Someone waved a flag to protest and got escorted out by police. So this rule worked perfectly. You're telling me the fastest way to escalate a meeting is to ban objects. Nothing calms people down like saying, you may speak, but don't bring anything that proves your point. What even is a prop, like by definition? What counts as a prop? Is a phone a prop? Are notes a prop? Is a printed email a prop? Is a hand gesture a prop? At what point do they go, sir, your opinion is too visual? The logic makes it worse. This is like banning umbrellas because it's raining. They were like, people are upset, so we're going to remove objects that are helping them express why they're upset. And they expected no one in the room to be like, this is insane. The police involvement is also crazy because the second the police get involved, the meeting has already failed. You can't be like, we're just trying to keep order, and then call the cops over a flag. That's not order. You're creating panic and problems. This is why people don't trust meetings. Someone definitely said, we need to look like we're doing something, and this was the thing that they thought was going to be the doing something. And the article just reports it like, town bans props. No why, no how, just yeah, we're doing it and this is what's happening. So if your town meeting needs a prop ban, the meeting was already the problem. So that's it for headline number 2. Let's get straight into it with headline number 3. Okay, so for headline number 3, we have a company held a meeting to discuss the problems of having too many meetings. Okay, we're done. That's the episode. Nah, I'm just playing. This doesn't make sense though. You're holding a meeting to complain about having too many meetings? So for quick context in the article, it says, employees complained that meetings were wasting time and killing productivity. So management scheduled a meeting to talk about it. Everyone is complaining about having a meeting and management is scheduling more meetings. Yeah, that sounds like the exact thing they want and the exact thing that they were complaining about. That makes no sense. Usually a meeting fixes a problem, but if the problem is having too many meetings, then you're not fixing anything. That's like saying, we're eating too much junk food, and at that meeting of deciding you're eating too much junk food, the food that you're eating at that meeting is like pizza. That's ridiculous. I just picture everyone sitting there like, couldn't this have been an email because we're already complaining about having too many meetings, and now we're having another one about our complaint? Sometimes you got to use your brain when you're trying to solve a problem, and they just didn't here. And the answer there was so many other ways to do this. An email, a text. Like, you did not have to call another meeting if that's the one thing they're mad about. And I already know how this meeting went. They started with a welcome, then an icebreaker, then they discussed the problem, which was already past due because the problem was having a meeting and they just probably sat through another hour to get to this problem in a meeting. There was probably no solutions, just calendars. This is why people hate corporate culture. You don't feel tired because of the work, you feel tired because you talked about the work for an hour. And the article just says this like it's normal. Company holds meetings about meetings. You should not have that in a sentence. Holds meetings about meetings. That doesn't make sense. Why are you holding a meeting about meetings? That's like what we discussed in an earlier episode about making a plan to create a plan. Those stuff just don't make sense. You could cut out the middleman once in a while. So to end off, if your solution to meetings is more meetings, just log out. Just end it there. Okay, that's it for headline number 3. Let's get into it with headline number 4. So for headline number 4, it goes like this. A company sent out an apology email that didn't actually apologize or explain anything. So it was just words, that means. So for quick context, customers were upset after a mistake, outage, or decision, so the company sent a mass email meant to address concerns, but it addressed none of them. I love corporate apologies because they're never sorry. They're always like, we regret that you feel the way you feel. That's not an apology. That's emotional outsourcing. You already know the phrases they used in the email. It was like, we take this very, very seriously. And moving forward, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. We appreciate your patience with this problem, and thank you for waiting and staying with us. We value you as a team member. Okay, but what actually happened? Like, how crazy is that? They always use the same type of lines. Imagine reading an apology email and finishing it like, wait, what are we even talking about? What are we even getting an apology for? And why is this an email? They wrote 6 paragraphs and it accomplished nothing. Said nothing, meant nothing. No one's happier. No one's satisfied, and everyone's still angry about the problem. So why are you wasting someone's time in sending that email, and why are you wasting my time in reading that email? And the article just reports it like it's normal. Company issues apology. There was no apology, there was no explanation, there was just some font size 11 accountability. If your apology needs a translator, it wasn't an apology. If I can't actually tell that it's an apology, then clearly you're doing something wrong, because an apology should be straight up, and you should be able to tell that right off the bat. Okay, that's it for this episode of News Glitch. Any of these headlines felt unreal. Unfortunately, they weren't. If you enjoyed it, follow the show and check out the clips. New episodes coming soon. I'm Matthew, and I'll see you next time. Assuming the news doesn't get any stranger, which I can promise it always will, because we're still here every week, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. See you then.